everyone, this is P4L. I'm coming to you with a new review from a new company, which I guess is just kind of an offshoot, or I don't know how it happened, of Zeta Toys. This is the Studio, I guess that's the name, 01S01 cell. So, and long and short is it's Unicron. It's a third-party Unicron. I'm also going to be reviewing at the same time the Armor MB08 upgrade kit. So depending on when you bought this figure, this might come like installed in here, inside the box itself, and I think it's a slightly different box. But you can see here that we have Unicron. He's pretty big. I'm gonna have trouble showing all this on screen, but we'll have to manage. But frankly, no one really cares about this figure without the upgrade kit. So let's go ahead and get them out of packaging. And as you see, out of the box, it comes with a ton of stuff, not just up here, but also down here. So we do have his stat card. This is just cardboard. Is it plastic? Feels like plastic. Plastic card here. Again, it has these weird creatures on there. And then the weird kind of Unicron, not Unicron. We also have a set of instructions, which are, I mean, they're shown well, but they skip a lot of steps. And because it's so zoomed out, sometimes it's hard to understand what they're trying to do. So there's a bunch of stuff here that I'll illustrate in a little bit more detail. So hopefully you have a better idea of what's going on. All right. Oh, they also show you here that there are these different color panel parts, as you saw down here. That's really for the planet mode, so that it has a more cohesive coloring. But I find it's not particularly necessary, but we'll get into that. So once you have them out of the packaging, let's start with the accessories kit, the MB08 kit. He comes with the Unicron head. As you can see here, it does move around with the horns. They rotate here, and I have one hinge there. His mouth also opens and closes. And then he came with the batteries, for mine at least. These are AG13 or the equivalent, and you just put them in, I think positive flat side this way, and just cover up this panel. There's two buttons, one back here which lights up the eyes, which is probably going to be hard to see under my lighting. This one will be a little bit easier, the one at the top. This is for the head or planet mode, and you can see it does light up. This one does light up fairly well. You can see there, maybe. But the eyes are kind of a translucent, but also reflective green on it, so it's a little bit hard to see under bright lights. And then he does come with a wing kit here. Unfortunately for me, I broke a tip of mine. You can see here that's broken. We'll get into that later. Hopefully I can buy a replacement piece or get one from Studio Cell, but we'll talk about why that piece broke when we get to transformation. Other stuff he comes with, this is not part of the accessories kit, but it comes with Cell, these little kind of like effects parts that you can actually kind of use as a stand or as a kind of a tractor beam look. They'll plug in. I think you can even plug them in robot mode. I think they show that off in some of the photos. Other things it comes with are a sprue, several sprues of spikes like this. And I'm not going to show you where all these go. And they also come with a set of hole fillers. But I'm going to actually link a video to another YouTube video. I believe his name is Daniel. I just looked it up because even though I was able to do this on my own, I think a lot of people might struggle with it. So I want to give you a video, and I'll link that in the description below, where you can see a detailed explanation of where they go, because there's a bunch of them. They go on his forearms here, on both sides, and then there's some that are in planet mode, which is in the back of the forearm, back here, sorry. And then there's a set that go up here and in the shoulders. As far as the filler kits, they go mostly on the legs here. There's one here. There's some in the arms up here. But again, this other video does a much better job of showing it than I will, so I'll go ahead and link that. But yeah, let's try to get into the review here. So he comes kind of like this, kind of in robot mode. What you want to do is extend the legs. And there are a couple things you need to do here. So let's scooch down a bit. So you want to extend them, and these kneecap coverings, these two halves, you'll see that there's a big tab on both sides here. You're going to want to combine these and then kind of push them down. And then on the back here, you might have to pull this out, at least I did, and then close this up to get it to extend and contract. So you'll see that this piece here, this also is a tab that goes into this slot in the back. So luckily it's not just those two clear parts that are holding everything together, because as we know, clear plastic isn't always known for being the most rigid or dense. But those combination of two, I don't have any concerns about. This kneecap piece on the side, I guess, pegs in like this. There's a little tab here, right where that gray piece is, and it should just go in. There we go. The feet, you want to unfurl the toes and pull these out to the side and to the back. Same thing here. For some reason, this is the only one on mine that's really loose. I've opened it up to see what might the problem will be, but it's just friction. So I think I'll just need to thicken up that peg or something to make it work. And there we go. We have him in robot mode. A couple things. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about these parts here, just because I don't think most people care about these parts. So let's go ahead and just take them off. They're held together with this kind of mushroom peg kind of thing. Oops. All right, well, that one's gone. So that will leave a hole, and that's where you'll go ahead and just peg in either of the wing parts. It doesn't matter which one. Peg that in. Same thing here, just pull this off. I won't lose this part so that I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. It's this little mushroom peg kind of thing that goes in. So these parts we can use a little bit later for simulating the mouth. You can see that's what the design is. The little mouth thing that so Unicorn can go eat some planets. All right, and then we'll go ahead and put the other set of wings on. These are ratcheted here at the ratchet point, and then friction with these pieces here. There is a peg holding together one section of the wings with the other. But yeah, you can get them up and rotated. So there's most of Unicron, and then the other part is his head, which is just on a big peg here. Just goes straight in. And then to get his face showing, there is a over-under tab. So you want to pull up, not straight out, pull up on this side. You want to pull out. You're going to lift these just a little bit so that it can double hinge around. And then close. Come on. Around and close. And there we go. All right, finally we have Cell in robot mode, the one we care about, actual Unicron mode. And you can see he's really impressive looking with the wings and everything like that. He is about, to the top of his horns, about 19 centimeters. Top of the head, I guess, 18. So he is quite big. He's not as big as some of the combiners that we have nowadays that are much bigger in stature. But I think he's a really good size. I think most displays will work well with him. Here he is with a Legend size. That's Magic Squares Legends Optimus. Here is MP44. I'm sorry, this angle is not really the best for trying to show off the scale. But he comes up about to mid-thigh for Masterpiece scale. Really quickly, I thought I should show him off with another combiner. And I just got Probus today, so I wanted to show a comparison of how high or how tall they are in comparison. This is without the upgrade kit, his boots and stuff like that. So he's a little bit shorter, maybe an inch or so shorter. With the boots, I imagine they'd be about head to head. But yeah, I think robot mode looks really quite tremendous. He looks really well proportioned. One thing you'll notice is that when we come around to the back, is that his back and his front are exactly the same. So he has another set. He has a back six-pack, which is pretty awesome. I don't even have a front six-pack. So it's nice that he has two, but his chest and everything you can see. So when you transform him, you can actually transform him kind of both ways, especially because a lot of these sections rotate. So you could actually, you know, flip his legs like this and then rotate him at the waist, and it would be basically the same. But yeah, he looks really good, really clean, much less panels than we're gonna get with the official Hasbro HasLab one. Like, his legs are a lot sleeker and everything like that. I do have that one ordered, so I will try to get a review of that one on. That one will be even harder to get in my review section, so I don't know what I'm going to do there. But yeah, he looks really, really quite nice. I love how he looks overall more than the HasLab one. He doesn't have a ton of paint. He does have some translucent pieces here, which do tend to fall off. You just got to plug them back in, but they do tend to fall off every once in a while. Not a huge deal. Let's get into some of the paint details. He has some paint here. Again, not a lot. Some silvers, some metallic blue on his crotch and everything like that. Some details on the shoulders and in here. But by and large, he doesn't have a whole lot of paint. It's mostly just molded plastic. As far as the spikes, you can optionally pull them out here. Again, there's some on the shoulders here. Depending on how you have these angled, you can get the ones on the shoulders up. I find that they honestly just get in the way more often than not, especially with transformation. So I keep them folded up. But it's nice that they did include that detail, just because that is one of those kind of iconic details about his look, right? Even along these sections, everywhere, you'll see small spikes up here as well, which is really nice looking, but it does make for a very painful transformation, like physically painful while you're pushing some stuff together. A couple of notes. Again, you can go ahead and replace some of these panels here. You just basically, well, this one's the wrong forearm, but you basically just slide this off the peg here, and then you'll plug the other one in, and then you can replace the spikes. The spikes will be orange still, so you can do those. Those forearm ones are super easy. As you see, you have two of each forearm. These are a little bit harder. You have 4 of these, I believe. Where does the other 2 go? Yeah, there should be some more. But in any case, where these go are on the shoulders. And again, I'm not going to show this off just because it's a lot of video for not a lot of work. And honestly, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. But what you have to do is pop this out. What I will do is link to another video, I think Transform into a Guitar, his channel. He details this, how to do this. You want to pop the pin out going upwards and then replace it. It's really, really a lot of work just for some minor color improvements, I guess, in planet mode. But this guy will stay in robot mode, so I'm not going to bother showing that off. Sorry about the lack of completeness. Usually I would do stuff like that, but yeah, this video is already gonna be super long due to the transformation. So let's go ahead and get into articulation. You saw his head was on a swivel because of that peg. It can look up and down. You can pull it out a little bit, pull it out more to get a little bit more range, but there's not a ton there. We already talked about the mouth and the horns. His shoulders are on ratchets that can go all the way around. I'm not going to show that off just because it does require a lot of work. His actual shoulder joints are die cast here, and you can see there's one inside the body itself and another one here. So you can pull that out to get a pretty good amount of range. Not all the range you might want or need, but definitely enough for such a big figure. Ratchets on the bicep swivel that can go around. Double jointed ratcheted elbows, which give you a great amount of range. His wrist is also ratcheted. His hands are on a ball joint or a ball peg there, and 2 swivels or 2 pins in his thumb, so a good amount of range there. Each of his fingers is kind of the same detail. He has a ball peg in the palm itself, and then 2 pin joints. His claws are quite sharp and pointy, so be careful about that. Just curl these up for now. All right, he does have a weird kind of a upper chest swivel. You can see some extra details in here. I'll open this up. You can see these details up here kind of recreate the scene from the movie, all those screens up here, and then where Galvatron and Rodimus Prime fight. There are some nice details here, some painted details. I think that's something that was a really nice touch. Even on the inside, you can see some painted details that are molded. They could have just left that plain, but it's nice that they included that. Oops, one of the... What's going on here? Oh, sorry. One of the spikes came off his shoulders. So he can move about this much before you run into this tabbing issue. So minor detail there, or minor amount of range. Plug this back in. I find these spikes on the shoulders in particular don't like to be moved all that much. The waist, he also swivels. It can be 360. One other thing to note is that he can open his abdomen panel. I don't know why you would really want to do that, but you can see stuff in here, and you could fit a very, very small figure. Maybe like a spike in here. And you can see him hiding out, getting digested. Another great point of articulation is that he has a bunch of hinges in his abdomen, which allow for kind of an ab crunch, forward or this way. There's 2 sets. So really depending on which way you want him to articulate, you could actually have it this way. It's not symmetrical, so depending on which way you have it, you'll get more or less range. So for example, I think this way is the way I prefer it, but it really just depends on your preference. But it's nice that they have that. Again, all that is ratcheted. Hip skirts move up. These can flip out to the side and the back since it's mirrored. Legs can come up to the front about this far, about 90 degrees. Same thing going to the back. These ratchets are super stiff, especially the hip one here. And he holds up really well for the legs in particular. Almost to the point where it sounds like I might be breaking it. He does have this weird joint here, which you need for transformation more than anything, but I guess you could use it. And you can see another filler here in the filler kit. He does have a thigh swivel, 360, and a single knee bend with some details hidden in here, which is nice. He does also have a knee swivel, ratcheted. Again, that's mostly for transformation, but it's nice to have. Oh, was I even showing that? Hopefully I was showing that. And then coming down to the lower legs, he has a set of rotation and 2 ratcheted joints here and here for ankle tilting. Yeah, and you can rotate it around. His toe section can pivot like that, and that. So it has 3 points of articulation there. And then his heel, sorry, this thing is huge, so it's hard to get, can come up and down. So a really nice amount of solid articulation. Basically ratchets almost everywhere that you would want. Whew, you can tell I'm already out of breath just holding this guy and trying to keep him stable. He is actually quite stable. The joints down here on his feet are pretty stable. I was struggling with it a little bit earlier just because I'm trying to do it at arm's length here, but they are really solid even though the toe joints aren't ratcheted. But the real thing I wanted to show you guys is the transformation. I know a lot of folks are struggling with this, and I wanted to show kind of a detailed transformation both ways. So first and foremost, what I highly recommend is getting rid of these pieces. You can transform it with these, but it just gets in the way, and especially for this video, it's just going to make things a lot more difficult to show you. So you can do it with these on. I usually would, but again, for a figure this size that's already super difficult to transform at this range, I'm going to take these off. All right. So first thing I'd like to do is go ahead and just deal with the head. Do what we did before. Basically just open these up. Get them rotated forward on these double hinges. And you want to pull out the spikes in the back as well. Come on. And these you're just going to rotate and fold around like that. We're going to cover this up, his face up, with the over-under tab. Like so. And we'll just leave that for now. Alright. Next up, we want to open the chest panels like we showed before. And we want to pull this out and up. You'll see this horn goes into this cavity. The other side does the same thing. Everything is mirrored here. So you want to pull up, rotate, and you want to push to make sure it snaps into place. Some people have had issues with the horns, the way they were transformed or maybe transformed afterwards, that they're bent. Go ahead and just add a hairdryer or put in some boiling water, or I use my heat gun, and it will straighten this back up. You don't need to really do any bending. It's basically kind of memorize what the original mold was supposed to be. So as long as you don't put too much heat, you should be able to get it back into place, back into the original shape without having to bend it. So same thing on this side here. Open this up. Sometimes there are some tight clearances, like you saw before when I closed this up. Just might need to lift this up just a little bit. But again, we're going to pull this out. Tab that in. Bring this up and around. And at the top here, you'll see that they have two slots on both sides that will lock these into place. All right. Next up, we are going to want to pull this section up here where these monitors are up. There's an extension point here. So you can leave these arms up or down. It doesn't really matter. But actually, before I do that, I like to rotate these sections first. So I'm going to rotate this like so. And then we're going to pull up on this. This is a pretty, at least the first time you do it, a pretty tight joint. So you just want to apply a good amount of force here. Don't pull on this neck panel. Pull on this actual main body piece. There we go. And you can see how it's extended. It doesn't extend a whole lot, but you will need to have this done. And now you can see the head tucks in. But yeah, we'll have that done. All right, coming up to the midsection, we're gonna pull these out. They're on double hinges, like so. All right, bring these hip skirts up on the side. Actually, here we want to lift this, pull these crotch pieces down. They're tabbed in up here, and you just want to rotate the these hip skirt pieces. So just that middle piece, you want to get it down like this. So you do want to bend them in using that inner rotational joint, and you'll see that there's actually a little bit of a cutout here. So make sure everything is square. And like this. So it should be like that, because this should, yeah, okay. So yeah, this should be right. And you're just gonna leave that like that. All right, now we're gonna get to the legs. So coming to the legs, let's deal with the toes first, just because those are the easiest things to take care of. Fold fold that in, and then fold this completely down. Let's take one leg at a time. These sections here on the heels, they actually separate. You want to pull up on the heel and then pull out like that. And then this one you want to pull out, and this piece flips around like so. Oh, sorry, like so. And you'll see the slot here come in like that. Then you can close that back up like that. So now it's more of like a rectangle in comparison to this triangle. So same thing here, flip that out. I'll get this out and around so that the slot will fit in there. Close that up. They'll come down. This piece will come down and around. All right. These sections will rotate to the back like this. You'll see how these kind of all fit together, right? So we won't do all that just yet, but we do want to have them rotated in place just to make it easier for ourselves. And again, if you need a little bit more range, you can make use of these ankles and pull this out just to give you a little bit more space to move stuff. But when you are done, you need to collapse those ankles all the way in on those double hinges. All right. Oh, sorry, I didn't do this toe. There we go. Like that. All right, so that section is good. Now we'll go ahead and deal with the extending part. So what we'll do is what we did before, but in the opposite, we're going to pull up and out on these. We're going to pull out on these kneecaps. These sections right here will flip around. And then when these come out, you'll angle them slightly and that clear tab will go into this slot here. It does that on both sides. So again, untab this, flip those sections around like so. We can just leave these hanging out for now. Same thing on the other side. Out, and then tabbed in. Out on these double hinges and tabbed in. Remember, we do have to pull back on this panel here, which is good because we need to release this piece that is tabbed in underneath. And we want to get them straightened out like so. All right, so now we can start collapsing the legs, but what we want to do is make sure that the legs are kind of prepped, right? So making sure, and I don't remember if I was showing this correctly before, but you want to have the arms in basically the perpendicular to the legs. So the legs are coming out this way, then the arms should be coming out this way, and the abs should be facing the same, like kind of sitting above these hip skirts. And then this section here should open like so. So we need to do some prep here. We want to straighten out the leg. And then at the base of the hip, you can see there's a rotation here, but there's also the hip rotation. Rotate that 180 degrees so that hip bend now faces directly up. Similarly, we want to rotate this 90 degrees. So that weird thigh bend that I pointed out is going up because those going to work in unison. Rotate the lower leg below the knees 180 degrees. All right, so now we're ready to collapse the leg. One thing to note is make sure that this piece, the hip skirts, are flat. And then you see this little cutout here. That's for these kneecap pieces. So you're going to want to collapse while turning like this, so these goes on the outside of the hip skirts, and then we're gonna use these clips and the corresponding like tabs in the chest area. We just need to basically push up and get these connected. This is one of the more difficult parts just because the ratchets are so tight, but you need to make sure all these ratchets at the various chest, abs, hip skirts are all perfectly aligned. Otherwise, you're going to struggle. So I'm going to take one side first. See, I got this side in, and then this side I can just take a peek in and tab that in. Now all these pieces should align. We'll close this panel like so. Coming down to the bottom here, underneath his crotch, you'll see that there's a gray tab. You want to pull that all the way out. The reason being now is that this peg, these will peg in here and will come down, and that will give you a little slot for this tab to go in and lock this into place, like so. All right, now we're gonna just work in some of these filler pieces. So the chest will come in and tab in these two areas there. These kneecaps that we had before, they're going to tab in here. The first time I tabbed into this one was really difficult on both sides, on all 4 counts. So, and then there's a tab right there on the chest that goes in here. Put that in, push down on that. But yeah, after the first time, it did work a lot smoother. So tab that in, tab that closed. And then that's one half. So yeah, that's one side. We're going to repeat for the other side. Oh, sorry. One thing that I always forget to illustrate is these abdomen pieces. They have a hole that goes into the side of the leg. So this peg here is right up here, and this yellow abdomen piece should peg in like so and sit flush, and that will also help secure it in place. All right, coming to the other side, we're going to do the same thing. Bring the hips all the way up, and then rotate them 180 degrees at the base. Rotate at the thigh. (90 degrees so it bends upwards), and then rotate 180 degrees at the knee. All right, let me make sure everything is lined up. Yep, okay, everything is lined up correctly. Again, these tend to come out quite a bit. So again, you want to make sure that these hip skirts are flat against the body or the crotch, and then these are going to go on the outside. So when you come down like this, bend it slightly, and these are going to sit on the outside of those side hip skirts. Just like we did before, we're going to pull this up and then tab each side in. There we go. Tab that in at the top. Come to the bottom here. A lot of stuff ends up coming loose a bit. So once again, come down to the crotch here. You have to make sure that these pegs on the back of the leg go in, as well as these pegs here, like so. If everything is correct, you should be able to tab this crotch piece in. So once again, we have to plug these ab pieces in, because I always forget about that. Just to note, there are a couple holes here, so you want to make sure that you're plugging to the right one. There's like one here, one there, and then a small one at the top corner. That's the one you want to plug in, the top corner one. Like so. And then we start closing up these pieces. Like we did before. These kneecap pieces. Using this tab and this slot. Alright, so everything is looking good. Let's go ahead and deal with the arms now. So with the arms, you want to open up this panel. You want to rotate at the bicep 90 degrees. You want to pull out. So this is kind of like a sliding joint here at the very top. Don't just open it up or you're going to break something. You want to slide it up and pull it out. This tab was in here, so that's why you need to slide it out. Rotate 180 degrees. Rotate both the arm panels 180 degrees. Get the fist pointed out like this. This small panel here will fold down. And this will all curl in. Alright, so did I do that the right way? This way, sorry, this way. So this will tab in here. I actually recommend not doing this just yet. And I'll explain why once we get there, but we're going to come up here. Each of these arm panels untabs in the back here, like that. This piece has a double hinge on the back. What you want to do is kind of extend this upwards, like so. Then you can flip it open. Open up these panels here. And then once again, extending these flip this piece around like so. It'll come down. And then again, using this double hinge here, I'm gonna come down flat. So you can kind of see what we're going for here. And now remember this die-cast shoulder piece that we brought down at the beginning? The goal is to push that all the way back up in here. These two pegs will come underneath here. That should work by itself. And then these panels go over top. So it's kind of a weird over-under thing. But I just grab the arm from the bottom and then just give it a kind of a shove up like this. I get the pegs underneath first. And then I just keep pushing in as far as I can. These panels up top will come like that. So here's one thing that I want to talk about here. There are two tabs here that you rotate out and then you tab them in. These are the strongest or most frustrating tabs. It took me maybe 10 minutes to get all of them in. One of them I could never get in all the way. So my recommendation is not to even bother with these. This planar mode holds together just fine without them. If you need to do them, go ahead, but it's super frustrating. I wouldn't even bother doing it. So that's kind of my warning to you guys. There are tabs here on the side that'll come in. And again, these tabs are sufficient to holding things together up here. So along with these tabs and just the general tightness, I don't feel the need to do this, but if you want, again, you can flip these out. I would actually recommend doing that even before closing this up, but really it's up to you. All right, coming down here. The arm panels tab in there. Oh, actually, sorry, before we do that, the reason why I don't want these panels, that panel tabbed in here is because I want to show you this. This peg here will go into the crotch. And it has to have a certain alignment, and it's just easier to be able to manipulate this panel a bit to be able to tab this all the way. Now you can see it's tabbed in all the way. Now you can come in and come behind with this panel, tab it in here, tab it in there, and then this should just tab closed. There we go. So see, that's how that all works. There we go. And then this piece here will double hinge. And this is the weakest tab here. Everything else holds together actually really well, surprisingly well. But this one, for some reason, it's kind of oddly shaped. And it doesn't really align well here, at least in my experience. I don't know if maybe I'm doing something wrong, but it doesn't really align to the actual forearm piece. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. What you can try to do, and what I've done in the past, is basically try to bend the elbow one more click. See, and it kind of sits in, but it still doesn't really resolve the issue of it not actually tabbing in. It just kind of like sits there, which I think doesn't really serve a purpose. So we're almost done here. The last bit that we have to take care of are these crotch pieces. So I purposely didn't transform these as the instructions tell. I like to keep them till last just because they just get in the way. And you can transform it just fine without it. You just flip these out, tabs it only right there, and then you're done. Otherwise, these pieces are just interference pieces that are just going to get in your way this whole time. And as you've seen, this is already a pretty complicated and frustrating transformation. So I wouldn't want to get anything in the way that you don't really need to be there until later. So yeah, that was it. We'll do the same thing on this side. Open this up. Remember to pull out on this before you rotate it around. Get these side arm pieces around like so. The fist is going to go in like that so that you see the fingers. Rotate then like that. Oops. Yeah, these spike pieces definitely aren't really worth it. A lot of them don't even hold on, and again, they tend to fall off a lot. So pull out on the back piece here. Pull up on this double hinge. So you can open that up. Flip these panels out. That'll allow you to come around like this. Rotate this around, like so. Remember, this double hinge has to come down and in. And once again, if you want to do these tabs, I would do them now before I press up and in. But they're so difficult. They're like, I'm giving it all my strength right now, and it's not going in. So I say leave it. If you need to do it, that's on you. You've been warned. Once again, when we prepare this, we want to get the pegs underneath first. And then basically just push up. Keep pushing up and in, pushing in. Like so. And you should be good. Like that. Get this piece in. This piece in right there. Get this crotch tabbed in, pull that out just a little bit. And again, this has to be angled very specifically, which is why, again, I don't like tabbing that in first, so you can actually manipulate this a bit. Get that tab in. I don't know where this came from, probably from the shoulder. Nope, yeah, from the shoulder, there we go. And coming down here, get this in. Get this in. Oh, sorry. Yeah, like I said, if you need to mess with the elbow bend a little bit to get it situated a little bit better, go ahead and get this panel down and in. This will come down. Like so. And then we'll deal with these crotch panels. All right, the only last thing we have to do are the wing pieces. And these pieces are super frustrating, the way that the tab is engineered. So this side's the broken piece. You basically want to keep the side that's tabbed together, just leave that tabbed in. So again, you could have done this transformation without taking these off. I did, just because, as you can see, it's already a super frustrating transformation. So again, the side that doesn't already have, isn't pegged into the other one, you extend that around. And what we do here is, the reason mine broke is because when you come in here, it's the dumbest design. So you have to tab these sets of tabs straight and go into this hole. But if you do that, you can't get this over and under it, because these have to over and under hook. So I don't know the best way to do it. Some people over and under hook first, like that, and then tab it in. That seems to work sometimes. But when I took it out, that was when that other section broke. So again, the way I've done it is tab it over and under first, and then tab these in. And then note that pegs in there. And with that, we have Unicron or Studio Cell with all his little pieces falling off in planet mode. And that took a really, really long time. These panels here that I talked about before, these will replace kind of this. So I don't know why you would even, I mean, it does make it a little bit more cohesive, so you only have like that one stripe around. But I mean, I don't think that's that big of a deal where they needed to add extra parts for that. Couple of things. As we saw before with the planet mode, the Unicron head, you can go ahead and open this up. You can press that button to create kind of that look. Alternatively, you can go ahead and use this piece. There are 4 tab pegs here that go, I think it's these, yeah, like that. They have the more accurate kind of like curved pieces that come out as his teeth, and then you can peg this in to that section, like so, to create that effect. For the figure stand portion, what you can do is basically do the same thing, connect this, and you'll see that there's slots here. You want to put it under like that. Oops. And that's how the figure stand kind of works. But yeah, planet mode looks pretty good. I don't, again, mind the slight orange pieces that you see around here, but I can see why someone, if they are only going to display it in that mode, would bother changing that. But otherwise, I don't think that there's a need. Really nice details here. They have like these kind of like, I don't know, exhaust ports and stuff like that, reactor pieces here. And again, you can flip out all these spikes if you want. Here are the hidden ones that we didn't see in robot mode. They're hard to get out unless you have like a spudger of some sort. So like that, and like that. Yeah, and again, since you're not going to be handling that much, it's nice to have that for this mode. Oh, I didn't really think about that, but you can also, I guess, make sure it's this way. Because then when you put this in, you can actually get the pieces to come in to the beam as well. I didn't really think about that. So you can turn the light on here. It doesn't really illuminate all this section since it's not actually an actual cone. It's just a hollow piece. But yeah, the planet mode itself looks really quite nice. I really enjoy the look of it. That's really it for the alt mode. There's not much to talk about again, aside from the panels. There's not really much to talk about here. He does have that articulation with the spikes and these sections, but yeah, I do like the extra mouth and the figure stand options that they give you or they made use of with this. So it's pretty clever engineering there. All right, it's time to get this beast back into robot mode, which should be way easier. First thing we'll do is get rid of this stand and fold down these spikes, just because we know they're going to get in the way. The next thing we'll do is take out these rings or whatever you want to call them. So the way I broke this one was because I was dumb and I pulled out while leaving this in. So I would recommend you pull this out first, and then you can just loosen it like that. Don't be a pig and ruin your figure. So remember to pull it out first, and then just work out this over under, and the rest should come undone. There we go. And again, just for ease, we're going to take these out. Ease and visibility, so make this transformation as quick and painless as possible. All right. So first thing we'll do is come to one side. We're going to go ahead and extend this up like so. We're going to pull. Now, this is where it gets kind of difficult. You need to kind of get in here. Let me get a spudger. Makes it a little bit easier. I use a spudger to come up in here because there's only one release point right there. And then you fold this in twice. Same thing on this side. Get in behind here to release this point. Fold these in. Okay, so there we go. We'll go ahead and pull up on this. Pull down on the crotch plate here to release the peg. Pull this out. And really, you just need to kind of pull down on this to get that die cast joint back out. All right, so rock this back on that double hinge. It's really important you do that, or you might stress or break something. Bring this up and around. And then when you close this up, you'll see that there's tabs here and a tab there. So you want to put that in first. That'll make sure that everything closes up. And then once again, remember pushing down and forward this way to get that around these pegs there. The forearm, we just lift this up, flip it around, get this around, these two sections around, pull this out, and remember to flip out this little fist, or I don't even know what you want to call it. Get this tab in that slot, and then you can collapse it down. There's a set of pegs here that will hold the forearm pieces in place, and then we can rearrange all this stuff later, but it basically goes like this. Oh, sorry, like this. All right, let's come to the other side and do the same thing. So, oh, this one luckily came out already. Fold this up twice, and the other section once. Come in underneath here, same deal. You should have a little bit more ease since you're not doing this at arm's length, but it's still a little frustrating sometimes. So again, pull this out on this crotch tab, and then you want to pull kind of down and out. These will all kind of free itself, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. Up and back on those double hinges. This will come up, and one of the many spikes that fell out, the other one's somewhere, I'm sure. Rotate this around. Get this slotted in. Bring this forward and down. Oh, here's the other one. All right. For the forearm, remember to bring this around. Flip these, whoop, he's rolling around. Flip these panels around. Get the fist out. Lift this panel. Get this in here. And then push that in. And these will close and tab. All right, let's see here. So you got a little floating arm orb thing. Now we just need to go ahead and start releasing these other pieces here. So we'll untab this, and we can deal with these later. Just get them out and extended. Come down here, release this tab. And I find it easier just go ahead and deal with this just right now. There are a couple of tabby pieces that go up and in to make it sit flush. Don't forget on the side, you got these abdomen pieces. You just need to pull these out a little bit. Up here, you want to release this. It might be easier to come in underneath here, at least to get it started, and release that. And here, there's really no other way to do it except just pull real hard to get these clips at the bottom of the feet undone. Try not to hold it from this piece, which isn't solid. Try to hold it from like either the arms, where it's connected to the body, or something like that. And I pull mine kind of like at an angle. And from here, you basically just need to pull the leg down. Make sure I have everything disconnected. Yeah, everything should be good. So basically just extend and straighten out the leg like so. Just because it's a little bit easier when everything's kind of solid, I want to go ahead and lock at least the knees in before we do anything else. So again, we're going to do what we did at the very beginning of the video. Tab those two halves together and then push them in to secure the knee. Come on now. There we go. And on this side, we want to go ahead and close that up. And that secures the back tab of the knee. Alright, so I just like doing that first. Closing up this piece here. Just because I don't want everything sliding around. Now we can go ahead and rotate at the hip. Rotate at the thigh. Get everything down and straight. And then rotate at the leg. We can handle these pieces here. Remember, you have to flip these outer sections. And then there's this tab that goes right into the gray section here. Or the gray hinge. Same thing on this side. Okay, the toe part will come down like that. We'll flip these pieces around. Now we'll deal with the heel. So again, we need to pull out and pull that out, and this section will also untab and needs to basically flip in like this. Which way is the easiest way to show you? So that tab goes into the slot. Like that. And then you'll close this up and fill in the other half. This piece, which we didn't deal with earlier, just comes up and tabs into the back of the calf. And that's one leg done. Let's go ahead and repeat on the other side. So again, we're just basically going to release this section up here, this section up here. Again, I like to deal with this first. Open this up, tab that in, this piece up. We can do that now as well. And then on this section, again, I kind of like to get it started by pulling up on this, but if you can't do that, you can always just pull up on this side to release this. All right. And as with before, when you're pulling this down, remember to hold. Oh, sorry. Before we forget, untab these ab sections. Remember to hold solidly to the body, and I like to twist it basically, like twist it this way or twist it that way to get one side released first. And then from here, we straighten out the leg while extending it. I'm going to go ahead and tab in the back section. This guy's getting configured all sorts of different ways. Like, he's been in like so many different positions at this point. That's what she said. So flip this around. There we go. I'm losing more and more of these spikes as we move along, but we're just going to ignore that. There we go. All right, coming to let's see. Let's deal with the hips first. Hips all the way around 180 degrees. The thighs 90 degrees. Close up this tab. Bring this all the way down. The knee will rotate 180 degrees as well. All right. The toe, one of the easy parts. Heel. I'm going to pull back. This side that's connected. I'm going to flip around like so. Sorry, like so, and then close this up. All right, there's that foot. So now we're done with the hardest parts of the transformation. Let's get them at least somewhat standing, so that we can do the rest. All right. So we'll come to, another horn fell off. So we'll come to the side, get these hip skirts out of the way. Those obviously want to come to the side here. You want to fold those down. Fold this up to lock the crotch in place. One thing to note again is the only part that's not really mirrored here is the ab crunch. Depending on how you want it, you might want to take a peek really quickly and see how it's positioned. Okay, I'm going to do that later. All right, so abs, we'll just rotate. I was going to say you could take a look at them to see which way they're supposed to be positioned, but it's a little bit easy to see. So depending on how you want it angled, I think I like my ab crunch this way, so I'll have this be the front. So luckily, I have that correct. Rotate the torso, like so. No, sorry. The torso you have to be mindful of because, oh yeah, this is correct. Because the way that the neck panel connects, there is a correct forward position. You can see Unicron's head there. So make sure that's positioned correctly. And you can also tell by the fists. All right. All right, finishing up. Let's come down to the head. This will come up. This will come down. Oh, so this is one thing that happens a lot. Here, let me scooch down. During transformation, this thing is connected with a peg here. So what you need to do is come in behind it and push it in. But with the Unicron head in, it's kind of hard to do. So here, I'll just show you, and then you can do it on your own. But just come in like that and peg that in, and then you can put the Unicron head back in. But yeah, that is something that does happen quite a bit, at least on my copy. Now I'm trying to blindly peg in Unicron's head and I can't see. All right. So yeah, that is something that happens quite a bit. All right, coming back up again, we're dealing with this horn. So this will come down on these arms, and how you want it positioned is that kind of like this curvature is at the bottom. You want to untab this and bring this all the way down. And you want to make sure the horn goes through this slot. So you want this at a 90 degrees. You want this tab piece flipped 180 degrees so it sits flat. And you want to push it through like so. And then really quick on the other side, just fold that closed. So same thing here. We'll do this. Well, I'll show you a repeat, and then we'll close up the chest. Remember, have this folded 180 degrees and this horn going 90 degrees to the side. That's how you want it. Coming in here, folding that down, and then you can go ahead, collapse that, and then close up the chest. The chests are really connected by these tabs. When you do close it up, be sure that this is tucked in as high as possible to the top, because these do kind of interfere with that sometimes, depending on how it's angled. So tab that in, tab that in, and come here. Make sure it's tucked up as high as possible. Tab that in. Tab that in. All right, we're good there. And finally, the unicorn reveal, head reveal. Go ahead and fold this out as we did before. Extend the double hinge, collapse these in before you fold it up. All right. Fold in those pieces there. All right, so all there's left to do is go ahead and push these shoulders up and then reattach all of the fallen spikes if you want to do that. I'm not going to bother, but I will reattach the shoulder wings or whatever you want to call them. And with that we have, we have 01 Studio Cell back in robot mode. So, final thoughts. I really enjoy this figure. The transformation definitely does take some getting used to, especially with some of the interesting places and some of the tabs and stuff like that. But once you follow the directions that I have, hopefully that will get you there and back with as little issues as possible. I know this guy has fluctuated in price as well, depending on when you pre-ordered him, and then with the whole COVID thing and everything like that, shipping and stuff like that. So I would say that this figure is probably worth in like the $300, maybe $350 range. $400 I think would be pushing it. But he is a really well-engineered figure. I think he looks fantastic. I'm really happy with him on my shelf. So I'm happy with the purchase. That being said, I know some of the aftermarket prices are going kind of crazy. Getting up to like 400 and stuff like that. I don't know if I would pay 400 for him, but I think especially for the size, if he was bigger, definitely. But given the size, I think 350-ish is probably where I would probably cap out at him. But he feels fantastic in hand. The plastic quality is really good. While there isn't a whole lot of paint on him, he has ratchets everywhere. There are a lot of surface details, especially for planet mode and everything like that. And again, the transformation is really well engineered, and the small details that they put in to like the stomach and in the chest area really do call back to the show. And not the show, the movie. And I think that amount of detail is really appreciated among fans. So they could have gone a little bit more bare bones, I'm sure, but I really do enjoy it. So that's it for the review. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe. Go ahead and leave any comments down in the section below if you guys have any questions. I will leave a link to the Toy Dojo page, but I think they're out of this guy, unfortunately. So hopefully we'll get some more in, and hopefully they'll be at a good price for you guys to be able to pick this guy up, because I do highly recommend him. He is really fun. All right, that's all for today, everyone. Hope you have a good one.